this video, what I want to talk about is using a CBT approach to resolve problems. And so if you've been watching me for a while, you'd know that I'm a counsellor and I work in an integrative way. And all that really means is that different counsellors can either choose to qualify or specialise in one way of working. So a CBT practitioner, a cognitive behavioural therapist, they can only call themselves that if they've done a 3-year, or some of them for 4 years, degree in specialising in cognitive behavioural therapy. Whereas for me, I'm an integrative counsellor, so my qualification involved looking at three of the main different approaches, which was a bit of CBT, some person-centred and some psychodynamic, and then I've went on to do further training around solution-focused therapy. So CBT, or cognitive behavioural therapy, is a way of looking or working with clients where we look at your thought, the activating event, so an event that occurs in your life, the thoughts that you have about the event, your feelings about the event, your beliefs, and then your behaviour as a result of that event. So whether it's anything from, an exam coming up, so anxiety can be involved a lot of the time. So if someone, every time they've got an exam, maybe they think, oh, I'm going to fail. It doesn't matter how much revision they've done. I'm going to fail. That means this is going to happen. That means I'm never going to get the job that I want. That means I'm going to disappoint my parents. That means this, that, and the other. So they could start catastrophizing, which is a negative thinking error. They could then start to feel sick. They could then start to feel, there are people I've worked with over the years where they've actually been physically sick when it comes to exams, or they've collapsed before an exam, or they've had a panic attack. And it's all based on they haven't even got into the exam yet, but they're thinking that, they're going to fail. Their feet are starting to feel like sick. They're starting to feel sad. They're starting to feel stressed. Then the beliefs they hold would obviously be that if I don't pass this exam, I'm not good enough. If I don't pass this exam, then my life is over. If I don't pass this exam, then it means this, that people are going to view me in this way, or whatever it is. So those are beliefs that are attached to the thoughts. And then the final thing would be the behaviour. So the behaviour would be, with the clients I've worked with over the years, it would be things like skipping food in the morning because they're so nervous, but then feeling sick, but then also maybe not going to the exam. I know a few people who haven't gone to the exam. So what you would do as a CBT practitioner, so that's just giving you one example, but there's so many different types of where CBT is used, is you would work with that person in terms of their responses, because CBT believes that it's not the event, it's your beliefs about the event and it's your responses to the event, because you can have 5 or 10 different people in the same situation who all respond differently. So maybe like 10 people have been in a car crash or in a train crash, and one person says, oh, that was lucky, oh, I'm glad I came out of that without getting hurt or injured, and then they get straight back in the car, straight back on the train. Another person could say, I'm never going on a train again, I'm never getting in the car. I've worked with people as well who have been in car crashes, and then you've had to work with them for them to even get behind the wheel, because their belief is cars are dangerous. They've had one accident maybe in 20 years of driving, but their belief system has now changed because of that significant event. And it's the same as, hi Lena, thanks for joining. Oh, thank you, Lena. So CBT is a very powerful way of working because it's all about reframing. It's not blaming the client and saying you shouldn't be feeling that way. It's actually helping the client to look at their feelings, look at their thoughts, look at their beliefs. So a good example, so I'll use an actual example that I've used with a person who had a breakup. Breakups is another big one. So anxiety is used quite a lot with CBT. Addiction, because people who are addicted, whether it's gambling, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, it starts with what their thoughts are around, okay, if I have a drink, then that means I'm going to feel good. Or if I use drugs, then that helps me to function and to forget, what's going on in my life. So it's starting with a thought, then it's the feeling when they're using that stuff, then it's the behaviour, And it's only really when someone hits rock bottom or something happens, like years ago when I was working with someone, because I don't specialise in addiction, but I did work with someone. It was I don't want to say too much because confidentiality. It was two people that I worked with, where the one person was telling the other person how they are when they're drunk, and having to sit, and when the person had to hear how their description of themselves when they were drunk, that was when they started to think, I don't want to be that person that's just been described. Up until that point, they were enjoying mixing up their drinks. They were even sharing the, thanks for joining, Vuthi, I think it is. They were talking about what they were getting from it. So their feelings were, I'm having a really good time here because I'm having drinks and I'm drink after drink and it feels good. Their thoughts were, no one can tell me what to do. If I want to have loads of drinks and get drunk, I'm going to do that. And their beliefs were that they can only have a good time when they drink. What I did was I helped that person to reframe. They can get a buzz from something else other than getting drunk. And it didn't just happen with, oh, you just say, well, instead of getting drunk, go and do salsa dancing. It starts with really, really tapping into this person has got, it's a form of addiction, but as I said, I'm not an addiction specialist, but how we worked with it is I was successfully able to help this person find something which gave them that level of buzz instead of getting drunk, because the consequences of them continuously getting drunk meant the person that was having the counselling with them would have left that relationship. So part of the work that you do as a CBT practitioner is reframing. So another example, because I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for subbing, Flower. I think it says Flower Girly. Thank you. So I'm going to give you another example, and it's a recent one that I've used. And this comes up a lot, so lots of people will be able to relate to this one. So you're in a relationship, everything's going fine, and then all of a sudden that person breaks up with you. You haven't done anything wrong. You feel that, things were going in the right direction, but all of a sudden they don't want to be with you anymore. It's probably one of the most common reasons people come for counselling, or a lot of the reasons people come to me for counselling is a relationship breakup. So the first thing, that's the activating event, is the breakup. The thoughts that someone has can range anything from, I'm not good enough. I didn't see this coming, so I'm never going to put myself in that position again. I'm never going to invest emotionally in a relationship because it's too painful. Relationships suck, or they don't work. All sorts of things. I'm never going to love anyone again. I'm never going to trust again. So when someone has been through one event and then they're attaching all of those thoughts based on that event that has happened, the next thing is the feelings part. So how do they feel? They might feel guilt. Some people, a lot of times people feel, what did I do wrong? Why wasn't I there for this person? What is wrong with me? Why wasn't maybe I didn't do this, or maybe I didn't do that. Other feelings could be fear. What if I don't get to meet anyone again in my life? What if this person goes off with someone else? What if this is all there is to it? Love is always just heartbreak and that sort of thing. So you could feel sad, you could feel fearful, you could feel hurt, you could feel confused. So many feelings when a breakup happens, especially when you're not expecting it. There's no bumps in the road, you haven't had arguments, it just comes out of nowhere. So then your behaviour, or your beliefs, would be linked to the thoughts. So your beliefs about yourself could be that just you're not good enough, you're not worthy. Men only want particular types of women. Women only want particular types of men. This comes up a lot in terms of just society in general. When someone goes for a breakup, they normally attach it to themselves a lot of the time. I'm at fault. This person has broken up with me, so that means I'm not the person they want. So people will do a lot of things. So behaviour-wise, people might change their appearance drastically, because they think if I change my appearance, it means the person will like me, men will like me more, or women might like me more if I do this. People might become avoidant. So whereas before they were quite securely attached, they go to relationships, they put all their heart into it, they treat the person respectfully. If you've been hurt too many times, you might decide, I'm just going to use people, or I'm just going to be really avoidant. I'm going to build that distance. I'm not going to allow anyone to get close to me. It's like a protection thing. So what we'd be doing in that situation is you'd help that person reframe their thinking and their beliefs, which is what I've done with a few people. Now, you're not telling them to change who they are. You're not telling them to change what their values are or their core beliefs as a person. You're trying to help them reframe their beliefs about this particular situation so that it doesn't continue to hurt them, so that it doesn't continue to be an issue for them. So a reframe might be something like, instead of I'm not good enough because the person ended the relationship, it might be something like, some relationships don't work out and it's nobody's fault. Or sometimes relationships don't work, but that doesn't mean I have to attribute that to myself. That doesn't mean I have to change who I am. You might then work with that person on the future. So you might look at things like, ideally, do you see yourself, can you visualize yourself being in a loving relationship in the future? Some people will say like, no, right now I can't because I've just had the breakup and Cheyenne, they might be too hurt to even be able to visualize that. So you might have to take a bit more time doing the work towards that. So you say, okay, well, let's not think about relationships right now. That might be later down the line. How about, what thought could you hold, or what feeling would you hold that would make you feel better right now in terms of what's happened? So the person might say, do you know what, deep down, that person never treated me well anyway. Or, I feel good about myself. I know that I didn't do anything wrong in that relationship. Or I deserve better. So I know that one day, I'm going to be okay. Or my friends and my family have told me that I'm a good catch. So therefore, I'll believe what they have to say. So it's just slowly doing something which takes away from the thoughts, the negative thoughts, that takes away from the negative beliefs. Because there's a video on this channel which is called Cognitive Distortions, and I've made loads of videos over the years around this negative thinking. If you get caught up in the cycle of negative thinking, catastrophizing, there's a video I even made called Negative Thinking Errors, because there's quite a lot of them. Catastrophizing, fortune telling, when you're saying, I'm never going to, people use words a lot like never, I'm never going to meet anyone else again. I'm not ever going to be able to love, open my heart up to love. I'm never going to be able to trust anyone. I'm not ever going to get into a car again just in case this happens or that happens. There's so many situations where CBT is helpful because it helps that person reflect on like what they're saying, but also it helps them manage those negative thoughts. Because once you start spiraling because something has happened, it all starts from the significant event that happened. But how you respond to it, you do have a choice, but people think they don't have a choice because their thoughts are spiraling out of control. And that's why, hi, I'm from Delaware. Hi, Shana. Chana, sorry for pronouncing your name wrong. So all CBT is, so we're just going to I'm not going to talk about it too much because I can't even explain CBT in like, 20 minutes. It's something that takes more than that. But what I'm going to be doing is looking at the different approaches and just doing live streams about them because thanks for pronouncing your name right. It's just looking at, if you're someone that, can't maybe access counselling right now, you can still, there's so much information online that you can look at some of these approaches that I'm going to be talking about, but you can also go onto YouTube and go on Google and you can put in, is CBT helpful after a breakup? Or what are the main components of CBT? And then you can use that in your everyday life because there's lots of people that are struggling with whether it's exams that are coming up, whether it's negative beliefs about things that have happened in the past, whether it's relationship stuff, whether it's just not having enough resilience because so much events have happened and they've knocked you down. Whatever it is, you can still use some types of methods and approaches that can sort of help you get back up on your feet and help you kind of reframe everything. So that's all CBT is about. It's about looking at the activating event that has happened in someone's life, their thoughts about that event, their feelings as a result of the event, their beliefs about the event, and then their behaviour. And in most cases, the behaviour will usually be a negative behaviour. So it's not as though people will go through an event. It can be the other way around. You can have situations where people go through a traumatic event, whether it's a car accident or they do go through a breakup or a divorce, and then they come out of it the other end and they're kind of like, their response is, you know, well, oh, thank God that I'm okay. And I'm glad that that divorce happened because now I can move on and meet someone else. Or this was always going to happen, so I was ready for it or prepared for it. So in those cases, what we use is we use those examples to show that it's not the event itself, it's the response to it. Because if 5 people are all in the same situation and you all respond differently, it means it can't be the event. It's the way that you look at the event, it's your beliefs about the event. And there's nothing, and it's not blaming you as a person or saying you're wrong or judging you. And it's not, you know, pulling the rug from underneath you and saying your beliefs or your values are wrong. It's working with the counsellor to say, how can we reframe this for you so that it benefits you? How can we look at this with more of a subjective perspective? No, objective. Sorry, because so yeah, I will do I'll probably make another video as well around CBT, because I do think it's quite a popular approach that's used. As I've said, I think I said it at the beginning, I might not have said, a CBT practitioner has to do the relevant training to be a fully, call themselves a CBT practitioner. So because I'm trained integratively, I can say that I use a CBT approach, but I can't say I'm a CBT practitioner, because it's similar to, I suppose, with doctors, isn't it? With doctors, they're all doctors, but if they're specialist, they have to have worked in that field or been trained in that. So you've put, do you have experience treating BBT or CPTSD? Can CBT work for it? With PTSD, it can, but I think it depends on, I think the thing is, every approach can work depending on the person that you're working with, so the client, and also the presenting issues. So I can't say like outright that PTSD has been used, CBT has been used with that, because obviously it looks at the event, the triggering event that caused the PTSD in the first place, and it looks at, it can't change, it doesn't really look at the belief side of things, it helps you to work through the trauma that has happened. I'd say for PTSD more, I'd say trauma therapy would probably be more suited to that, because you've been through something so traumatic that it's caused post-traumatic stress disorder. I'd say trauma therapy would probably be more guided with that, because with CBT really it's, yeah, and then with BPD, it can do, but I'd say with that again, it depends, because I don't want to outright say yes or no to things. What you'd need to do is you'd need to look at personally what it is that you've been through, and then you would need to decide what you need. And I'm not saying that in terms of you would know, because it's tricky, and that's the whole thing with therapy. Like, a therapist can't just direct someone towards things. I'd say though for PTSD, I would say it's more trauma therapy than CBT necessarily. And then with BPD, yeah, CBT could work, but so could person-centered therapy. So person-centered, which I'll do a video about next time, is more of an approach which believes that the person has the answers to their issue, and all they need is the right core conditions. You just need the right counsellor, you just need the space, you need someone to listen to you, you need someone to not judge you, you need the certain conditions in place, and you will come to the conclusions. Loads of people don't believe in that, because they think it doesn't matter how many weeks I talk to my counsellor, unless they give me a strategy, I'm not going to find a solution. But you'd be really surprised that when there's no distractions, when you're not being judged, and you can open up fully and talk about what it is that's bothering you, a miracle can happen, because all of a sudden you can just get that light bulb moment where you think, oh, that makes sense. Or where after weeks and weeks of talking, eventually you think, oh, this is what I need to do, and your counsellor doesn't have to say anything at all. So yeah, that's like a brief version of CBT. What I can do, Shana, is probably I can maybe do more videos around, because PTSD is something actually where there's not that many as much information as there could be, but it is a very it's a very specialized form of trauma. But yeah, there's probably lots of different ways that you can work with it, but maybe I'll make a video about that. That might be helpful. So thank you to everyone that joined. I really appreciate it, and thank you as well. You've said, can you say hi, Stevie? Oh, hi, Stevie. Yeah. So thank you everyone that joined on this live stream. I really appreciate it, and I'll be back. Usually it's a Monday that I do my live streams, but today was just this week was different. But I will, yeah, you can check out all of the videos on my channel on here. You can also go to my Facebook page, which is Marianne Hanson Counselling Service. It's the same as this title. And I'll see you all soon. Have a great week. Okay.